Go to any pharmacy in America and pick up a bottle of melatonin. The label says 5 milligrams. Some say 10, some say 20. Your brain, the organ that invented melatonin, that has been producing it for 500 million years of evolutionary history, makes about 3 milligrams per night. You are swallowing 10 to 60 times what your own biology produces. And nobody told you that. Not the bottle, not the pharmacist, not the ad that said natural sleep support. In 2023, a JAMA study tested 25 melatonin products off the shelf. The actual melatonin content ranged from 74% to 347% of what the label claimed. One gummy marketed to children contained 347% of the listed dose. This is not a regulated pharmaceutical, it's a supplement, and the industry that sells it has no incentive to tell you the science. So, here it is. The first thing to understand is that melatonin is not a sedative. It doesn't knock you out. It doesn't make you sleepy the way a sleeping pill does. Melatonin is a timing signal. It tells your body what time it is. Every evening, as light fades, a small gland in the center of your brain, the pineal gland, roughly the size of a grain of rice, begins producing melatonin. The signal travels through your bloodstream to virtually every organ in your body. It tells your core temperature to drop. It tells your digestive system to slow down. It tells your cardiovascular system to reduce heart rate. It tells your immune system to shift into repair mode. Melatonin doesn't create sleep. It opens the gate for sleep. It says, "It's dark now. Begin the shutdown sequence." This distinction matters because it explains why taking a massive dose doesn't make you sleep harder or faster. You can't force sleep by flooding the signal. That's like honking your horn louder to make the traffic light change. The signal and the process are two different systems. Your brain produces melatonin on a schedule controlled by the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the SCN, a cluster of about 20,000 neurons sitting directly above where your optic nerves cross. The SCN receives light information directly from your eyes and uses it to synchronize your circadian clock. Light suppresses melatonin. Darkness triggers it. This is why screens at night delay sleep onset. The blue light is telling your SCN it's still daytime. Here's where the supplement industry exploits a misunderstanding. People assume that if 1 milligram helps a little, 10 milligrams will help a lot. The research says the opposite. A landmark study in the journal Nutrition found that research indicates that for many people, low doses of 0.3 to 0.5 milligrams are as effective for sleep onset as higher doses, though specific clinical conditions may require different protocols. Why? Because at physiological doses that mimic what your brain actually makes, melatonin gently signals the circadian system. At supraphysiological doses, 10, 20, 30 times the natural amount, melatonin floods the receptors. The receptors may respond by downregulating, becoming less sensitive. While some researchers theorize this creates a dose escalation cycle, more human studies are needed to confirm the mechanism. What the clinical data does show is that higher doses don't produce better outcomes, and they do produce more side effects, including morning grogginess and disrupted sleep architecture. The irony is real. The supplement marketed to help you sleep may be making your sleep system less functional over time. The second mistake most people make is timing. Most people take melatonin right before bed. They swallow the pill, brush their teeth, and get under the covers. But melatonin's job is to initiate the shutdown sequence. That sequence takes time. Your natural melatonin onset, called DLMO, dim light melatonin onset, begins 1 to 2 hours before you actually fall asleep. It's the runway, not the landing. If you take melatonin at 11 p.m. and want to sleep at 11 p.m., you've missed the window. The signal arrives after the plane was supposed to land. Clinical sleep researchers recommend taking melatonin 1 to 2 hours before your desired bedtime, and crucially, at a low dose. The combination of correct timing and correct dose is what the research supports. What the bottles recommend, high dose, right at bedtime, is wrong on both counts. If melatonin isn't a sleeping pill, what is it good for? Exactly what its biology suggests, resetting your clock. Jet lag is a circadian disruption. Your body thinks it's 3 p.m. when the local time is 10 p.m. Your melatonin onset is happening at the wrong time. A low dose of melatonin, zero point 0.5 to 1 milligram, taken at the bedtime of your destination time zone for 2 to 3 nights can genuinely accelerate circadian realignment. The Cochrane database, the gold standard of medical evidence reviews, confirms melatonin's efficacy for jet lag. Shift workers face a similar problem. Their circadian system is permanently confused. Strategic melatonin use, again low dose, timed to the desired sleep window, can help anchor the clock. Delayed sleep phase disorder, common in teenagers and young adults whose natural bedtime drifts to 2 or 3 a.m., also responds well to timed melatonin because the problem is a misaligned clock, not a broken one. These are all clock problems. Melatonin fixes clock problems. What it does not fix is insomnia, the inability to sleep even when the clock is correct. If your circadian rhythm is fine, but you still can't sleep, melatonin is treating the wrong system. If you have chronic insomnia, you lie awake for 30 or more minutes most nights, your mind races, you wake at 3 a.m. and can't return to sleep. The gold standard treatment is not a pill, it's a therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, CBT-I, is recommended as the first-line treatment by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, ahead of any medication. CBT-I works by addressing the behavioral and cognitive patterns that sustain insomnia, stimulus control, sleep restriction, relaxation training, cognitive restructuring. It has a higher long-term success rate than sleeping pills, with none of the dependency risk. The challenge is access. CBT-I requires a trained therapist, and wait times can be months. Digital CBT-I programs are closing this gap, but they're not yet widely known. Most people reach for the melatonin bottle because it's there, on the shelf, no prescription, no appointment, no waiting. But convenience isn't efficacy. For a clock problem, melatonin works. For a sleep problem, you need a different tool entirely. There's one more dimension to this story that most people don't consider. Melatonin is classified as a dietary supplement in the United States, not a drug. This means it is not subject to FDA pharmaceutical manufacturing standards. The FDA does not verify the dose listed on the label. It does not test for contaminants. It does not require clinical trials. A 2023 study published in JAMA analyzed 25 commercially available melatonin products. The actual melatonin content ranged from 74% to 347% of what was listed on the label. Some products contain serotonin, a different neurochemical entirely, as a contaminant. A children's gummy contained more than 3 times its listed dose. You are consuming an unverified dose of a neurohormone that directly affects your circadian system, your immune function, your reproductive hormones, and your cardiovascular rhythm. And the industry selling it to you is not required to verify that what's in the bottle matches what's on the label. This is not an argument against melatonin. It's an argument for understanding what you're taking, why you're taking it, and how much is actually in the pill. Melatonin is one of the oldest molecules in biology. It predates the evolution of eyes. Virtually every organism that experiences a day-night cycle produces some form of it. Your pineal gland has been manufacturing it perfectly for your entire life. Precisely dosed, precisely timed, precisely calibrated to your environment. The supplement industry took this elegant system and convinced 27 million Americans that they need to override it with a pill that contains 10 to 60 times the natural dose, taken at the wrong time, for a condition it doesn't treat. If you want better sleep, the evidence says dim the lights 2 hours before bed, put down the screen, keep a consistent sleep schedule, and if you do take melatonin, take 0.3 to 0.5 milligrams, not 10. Take it 2 hours before bed, not at bed. And use it for clock problems, not sleep problems. The molecule works, the marketing doesn't.